Shalom. I want to come with this topic called the Mesha steel. This is a Moabite stone of using the old Phoenician alphabet, which is very close to the standard biblical Hebrew, 1,800. It's 1,000 to 850 BCE. I did a video called the Afro-Asiatic History in the Babylon Timbuktu, my recent video. And this is talking about the accounts of the language on chapter 3. This is a reference to this. It says written in Moabite language using the old Phoenician alphabet, which is very close to the standard biblical. I just read that. Okay. I am Mesha, son of Chemosh, Yadi, the king of Moab, the Dibionite. My father ruled over Moab 30 years, and I ruled after my father, and I made this high place for Chemosh in Karacho, or Creo. Quaracho, I believe, like Qarchocho. Qarcho. It's like Quaracho or Creole. Not Creole and C, but Creole or something like that. A sanctuary, means sanctuary, because he saved me from all kings, and because he was showing to me all my enemies. Omari was the king of Israel, saying that's Yasharal, by the way. Israel, that's in your scriptures you can go, I believe you can go to, what's the scriptures you can go to? 1 Kings 11 and 33, Numbers 21 and 29, and finally 2 Kings 3 recounts of revolt by Mesha against Yasharal, to which Israel, they would say in here, respond by allying with Yehuda and Edom to suppress revolt. Now Mesha, the king of Moab, sheep breeder, that's what he is, of Samaria. Okay, I will get those scriptures out and continue with this topic. I will say 1 Kings chapter 11 verses 33. I'm right at it. Yeah, right at it. Chapter verse 33. I'm reading 32 verse. But he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out all the tribes of Yasharal, known as Israel, because they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of Zidonians, that's the Hamites, by the way, and Chemosh, the god of the Moabites. That's the Moabites would be, most people say so-called Chinese. That's why I'm assuming. There's a lot of debate about who they are. Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon. Most people say that's the Japanese. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but if it is, I wouldn't be surprised. But they still debating about that too. I'm trying to do research on those. Moab and Ammon. Have not walked in the ways to do which is right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judges, as did David his father. That's what it says in the 33th verse. And they said Numbers 21 and 29. '21st chapter, 29 verse, I believe. Excuse me. Yeah, you just 1 Kings 11 and 33. 1 Kings chapter 11 verse 33. Like it says, I'm going to read it again. And I read for the 32th verse, like Israel, like the tribes. I read that. I'm going to read from the 33th verse again. It says, but because they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of Zidians. That's these Hamites, the Canaanites, by the way. God of Canaan, like I mentioned in chapter 3 in Babylon 2 book from the old video. And Chemosh, the god of Moabites, known as Mesha. Chemosh is known as Mesha in this book. Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father Yah. So yeah, you can go on down 34th verse. Prince of all days, David my servant's sake, who I've chose, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. And you also read chapter 12 verse 15. And it tells you, for the king hearkened not unto the people for the cause of from Yah, that he might perform his saying, which Yah spake by Ahiah the Shalinite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat, like it says in this information right here. There's a couple of precepts in here, but I'm trying to get Numbers 21 and 29. You can go other precepts in this too. I'm getting scripture now, and then I'll go back for the information. It says, woe to the Moab, thou art undue, O people of Chemosh, known as Mesha. He hath given his sons that escape, and his daughters into captivity of Shion, the king of the Amorites. That's them Hamites, by the way. And that's what it says. Please read that verse. And I went back to 1 Kings and go to chapter 12 verse 15, the precept, the 35th verse of the 11th chapter. I read from the 33 all the way down to 35. I did read 32 earlier, so it's talking about the whole story. You can get the whole story there. It says, but I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto the 10 tribes. That's the rest of Yasharal, known as Israel. Yeah, this is talking about the time when the Moabites came and, overthrew, at the time when David passed, I believe, or somewhere around that picture, or so I think it was the Hamites at the time. This is what it's talking about. This is a little side history of the scriptures. And it says Mesha, Chemosh, but it starts with a C, like Chemosh in the Bible. I just read that. And like it said, paraphrases those scriptures. Because he saved me from all kings, that's what he said for Chemosh, angry with his land, and his son replaced him. And he said, I will also oppress Moab in my days, he said so. But I looked down on him, on his house, and Yashua has been defeated forever. Omari took possession of the whole land of Madawaba. That's what it says in here. And he lived there in his days and half a days of his son 40 years in Chemosh, stored it in my days. And I built Baal, the idols, they said Baal, and Meon, and I built a water reservoir in it, and I built a Karyatin. And the men of Gad lived in the land of Atarat. I just mentioned that in the scripture from ancient times. And the king of Yashua built Atarat for himself. And I fought against the city and captured it. And I killed all the people of the city as the sacrifice for Chemosh and for Moab. And I brought it back and forth her and of his uncle for there. And I brought it before Chemosh and Kiriat. And I settled the men of Sharon there, as well as the men of Marhet. And Chemosh said to me, go take Nebo from Yasharal. And I went into the night and fought against it from the daybreak until midday. And I took it, and I killed it all, and 7,000 men and male, they say aliens, but male, and women and female, they say aliens, servant girls, since Ashtar Chemosh I banned it. And from then and I was talking about the Yashroelites that have this translation in Moab, talking about the king of Moab. They defeated Moab or something like that. I don't know if it's Israel or something like that he built or something like that. This is talking about a Moabite stone in the language. I think it's talking about Yashra at this point. They use Yahweh, but it's not. That's not the correct name. It's Yahuwah or Yahuwah, whatever. And from there, I took the vessel of Yah. I brought them before Chemosh, and the king of Yashra had built of Jahaz or Jahaz and stayed there while he fought against me. And Chemosh drove him away from me. And I took from Moab 200 men and all its division, and I led it up to Jahaz. And I took it in order to add it to Dibion. I read that in the scripture. And I have built Quattro, and the wall of the woods, and the wall of the citadel. And I have built its gates, and I have built its towers, and I have built the house of the king, and I have made the double reservoir for the spring inside the city. And there was no Christian in the city of Quattro. And I said to all people, make yourself a Christian at home. And I cut the moat for Quattro by using prisoners of Yasharal. And I have built Ariel, and I construct a military road in Arian, and I have built Beth Bamat, for it has been destroyed, and I have built a Bezer for lay ruins. And men of Dibion and stood in battle formation, for all Dibion were in subjugation. I ruled over the hundreds and towns which I have added the land, and I have built a Medeba and Beth Dabaletin and Beth Baal Meon, and I have brought their flocks of the land and Horonim, and there live. And Chemosh said to me, go down and fight against Hararanin, and I went down in Chemosh and restored it in my days. So this is the Mesha still like translation. King Mesha gives this account. That's what he gives us down. See, he kind of defeated the head tribes, put them in captivity, and it talks about the Phoenicians enslaved us at one point, and Judah was in that time. You know, this is an interesting time period. Yeah, this is the Mesha's still translation. I just want to give my thesis on that. So with that, I just want to say is, Yah bless many times. Shalom.